GMC every day. This video, we're gonna finish everything I thought I could get done in the last one. So we've got everything dry now. The GRC square body dash has been modified. Should bolt into the interior. We've got the interior somewhat flocked, pedals, custom bench seat covered. All that's left is to get it all together. So I've got to paint some more details. I've got to do the chrome rings around the air conditioner vents, which I forgot. Luckily, there's some guys on YouTube that sent me, or YouTube, on Facebook, they were sending me pictures of their dash. Like, don't forget this, don't forget that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do those two knobs or not. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we got to get that all done, assembled, put together, mounted on this, and then I've got to do the side windows on the truck, get the windshield bolted in, and I've got to do the side window trims, and figure out this rear mounting system, which is going to be super duper fun. We've got to bolt this into the truck and then line these up somehow magically from underneath with all this wonderful new interior we found. So again, we're not doing lights. I'm not doing the functional steering wheel that this kit does offer. It has a provision in there to make it actually turn. And as someone pointed out on Facebook too, I only have the Chevy sticker for it. So I don't have a GMC. I did order a kit of metal emblems. Unfortunately, it's coming from Italy. Doubt they're going to be here anytime soon off of eBay. I don't even think it's shipped yet. It's been 2 days already. So that's something we could address further down the road. But for now, we're just going to rock the Chevy steering wheel because I already did spray clear over that sticker. And it is what it is. It's going to be close enough. So I've kind of cleared off some of the mess I don't need, left the mess I do. I don't know where to start yet. One thing I would like to address, I did forget to fill this hole in the last video, and I don't know how to do it now that we've already got the flocking on the floor. So I don't know, we may think of something cool and scale that we can set there. I've been looking for any kind of parts tree with a cup holder. Maybe we could mount to it, but I haven't found anything good yet. So anyways, enough talk. Let's get this thing going. Start by painting those gauges, or those air vents. Give that some time to dry, and we can start assembling on the dash. Alright, window trim's done. Got the mirrors back on. Ready to make vent windows. I've got some real thin packaging. I don't remember what that's from. I think it may be an RC 4-wheel drive axle box. It actually feels thinner. So now I gotta try to cut those into a shape and glue them in very delicately from the back so there's not a big glob of glue everywhere. That tape did peel a little bit of the rust off, so some of these hard to reach areas that were still pretty shiny, it did actually help. Thankfully, it didn't take too much. I did not matte clear this after I did the weathering. I thought it looked so good with the satin paint that I didn't need to do that. And, well, main reason I didn't do that because all I have is a satin paint. And for these weathering things, everybody recommends only using matte. So I don't have a spray matte. I think I actually do now, but anyway, that was after the fact. So I never did it because it looked good and I didn't want to mess it up. And yeah, so just got to be careful. Don't let anybody stick any stickers on your paint if you didn't matte clear it. So now all the window trims are done finally. I can get that stress off my off my plate. It's not that hard to do. You really didn't need to mask it. I missed a little spot there. The lip is raised enough with the paint pen. Even with my unsteady hand, I was able to get them in pretty good. So getting in these little cracks up there in the top, doing the inside surfaces is probably the hardest part with the paint pen. But I know a lot of guys spray them. I just haven't gotten that comfortable yet. I haven't even tried that airbrush that I bought a month ago. So we'll get there one of these days, but I don't want to try too many new things at once. I'll get overwhelmed and not do any of it very good. So I think the dash vents are probably dry. Need to get these in, and we can put the dash together, start putting the interior together, and go from there. What was I thinking? The windshield wipers. I'm a little worried about the windshield wipers. So these metal ones get on Amazon and eBay. You have to fold and put together, and it's not impossible. It's just kind of a pain in the butt. Some of them do come assembled. I don't know where to get those at anymore. But the base of them is thicker than the space we have, so it can chip the paint off when you open and close the hood and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how these are going to fit. Usually I don't use the holes that are on here from RC four-wheel drive. I will drill. We're going to take the hood back off to do that. Dang it, I hate taking the hood off. I'll drill a little hole up here next to it and put some coarse thread, smaller hardware in. It puts them in a better alignment on the windshield as well. So I think we'll do that last, obviously, because why not procrastinate even further? And because we got to take the hood off. But once we have the windshield in, we really got to have that in before we do that. And yeah, anyways, I'm gonna quit talking and start doing these stupid windows I hate doing. I know a lot of folks use the RC four-wheel drive one and just cut that off, but that plastic is so dang thick. I think I actually have some right here. By the time you, dude, I mean, that's 3 or 4 millimeters thick in the window, and you can see it from the inside. It's just massive. Like on my Blazer, Bob did that with these, and he cut it perfect. But cutting that thick of plastic perfect and clean is not my forte. I use Dremel, and then you got a boogered up edge that you can't hide behind the wing window. So as long as I stick with something thinner, get some scissors and figure this out. Alright guys, I'm gonna let this stuff dry for a little bit. I'm trying to not clamp the door panels because I don't want to damage the paint. While we're here, before we move on to putting the dash together, I'm gonna go ahead and take some of the acrylic and touch up along our bottom edge. I've got a few scratches here and there that need to be addressed. Taking the bed on and off to scratch this up, unfortunately. Just a couple spots here and there. Try to just delicately dab on some rust. And yeah, done it before. We fixed the hood. See if there's anything on that side. It looks pretty good. Fix the hood this way. It'll hold up as well as the rest of it. But the bottom edge does look kind of nasty because obviously we set it on that when we paint it. And it's just kind of come off from scooting around the table and all that jazz. So the windows are in. Got the door panels on. I did try to position the door panels backwards just a little bit. There's just a tiny little slop in the part it lines up with there. We'll see. I'm fingers crossed we don't have any issues because I've never had them attached, obviously, when we put the dash in with the interior before, so I don't know how much space there actually is. if we're gonna have to come back and chop our dash down even further. I mean, we've got it about as narrow as we possibly can, so I don't know. Fingers crossed. Just about finished with this tube of E6000. Now, I just saw a Facebook memory. I started this tube a year ago on the Working Man truck build. Had the little fancy nozzle, the little fine tips, which I wish I still had some. So we've got almost a year out of this pretty good sized tube. I don't remember how big it was, but I've been talking about it in videos, trying to get that thing finished off. I have a new tube. I'm just waiting to get it done. I started buying the smaller tubes after this one because it's, you know, obviously look at that nozzle, it's a mess. And I have to go through with like a Allen key and try to scrape out all the dry stuff before I can get fresh glue out, but don't want to waste it. So anyways, yeah, I gotta figure out something I can squirt this on and start dabbing up our edges and start putting that dash together. All right, got it in. We got to take it back out, obviously, to set up the mounts and stuff for the cab, back wall, and the bed. We got to put the bed in, put those mounts in. Then we get to try to fight those around all of this while it's going in. It is a very tight fit. I did have to notch a little more those hood hinges. Those hood hinges are just, they stick way too far into the cab. I haven't found anything about those hood hinges I really like. Openings. It opens. So I'll get this back out, give you a better look. Yeah, I hate that I just had to kind of cut that out, but it is what it is. That is not visible at all, so we're good there. I have some red. I cleaned that windshield before I did all this, and now there's red powder in there from that carpet. I think I did this on the blue truck when I flocked it, and then I had turned upside down, and some of the flocking still comes off. So we pull this back out, show you what it looks like. The best way to do this. I did leave that insert over here unpainted, and it only came with a K5 Blazer sticker, so I didn't want to do anything else wrong for the GMC. But You can see that end's kind of jacked up, but thankfully you can't see that. See where the door panel is messing up our paint. It's just a little wide still. Realistically, we probably should have taken that off all the way to the vent, but it'll work. We got it in there. The side's scratched up a little bit too from the thing, but luckily you can't see it. The gauge cluster stuff is just awesome looking. There's so much detail in all that. I couldn't make heads or tails. Since I told you I lost the instructions, I didn't even use half the hardware. Everything seemed too long. I forgot half the hardware's for the floor pan setup made for the Traxxas, so that's why I didn't really have a good grasp on what went where. So we got very minimalist hardware, but I dig it. It's a heck of a lot of improvement over what these come with. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mount these brackets into the cab, get the bed back on, and I think those screw into the bed like so, and then we'll try to get this thing in, and this will be the last time it comes in and out, hopefully. Trying to think, I think if we do the engine bay later, yeah, we cover those anyway, so we don't, not getting out of order there, thankfully. It's in, it's good. Everything's lining up and jiving good. I got the back mounts in. So that part is done. I was mocking up real quick before we wrap this video up. Looking at the engine bay, I forgot. So these are the new RC 4-wheel drive spring-loaded hinges. We've already had problems with the dash. The instructions for these online only show where you got to cut the mounts off at to clear these new hinges, which sucks. Then you have to glue the firewall to the firewall of the body, and it's kind of permanent. So this being on a shop truck, we already have a radiator. I was just basically wanting the side pieces. The radiator, the shroud would have been cool to keep. Obviously we're cutting out the motor. We got to make room for our shock towers for the shop truck chassis. So we may chop this up, but I don't want to hide my firewall. I did good weathering that, but I want the side pieces. I want the inner fenders. Another thing we need to actually look at is if all the way up in there, is that going to be high enough to clear our tires and sitting as low as we are. So it may not even work at all. So that'll be a battle for another time, but I wanted to have the scale stuff. I wanted to have the battery and the inner fenders, and we could do the heater box and all that stuff. I think I have all that kit, the extra kits, but not today. I'm just glad this is over with. We've got a complete interior that's going to be impossible for me to get you a camera view of, and it looks really good in there. So let me get the body back on the chassis, and then we'll get one final look once I clean up this disaster week-long mess off my table here. All right, guys. I'm glad this thing's done for now. One thing we are going to have to address, other than the Chevy emblem on the GMC truck steering wheel, is the suspension. So now this interior actually weighs quite a bit. That seat, I don't know what infill it is, but there's a lot with the dash, door panels, everything. So now the front is pretty well bottomed out. But I love the way this looks. I'm still figuring out something. I'm gonna do some digging right now. But I'm thinking to fill the shifter hole in there. I want to find, remember those plastic cup holders that you could buy at Walmart for like $8 or something, that had like the little nubs in the bottom. They would just kind of snag in the carpet and wouldn't slide around. Everybody had those back in the 90s. I had one in my first truck because it didn't have an armrest. Something simple like that I could print and do up to put in there. I've got some scale cups and things. If we can find something we can scale properly, that'd be kind of cool. But other than that, it came out great. Ton of work. Again, there's different ways to do this. I know everybody's probably got their own idea on how to get that dash in there. This is what worked out for me. Like I said, if with slimmer door panels, if you had some shrink RC door panels, and I've seen some other files floating around that are much narrower than these RC four-wheel drives. And so you can see how thick that thing is. It's probably a good 7 or 8 millimeters thick. So still got some practice to do on the flocking, but yeah, we'll figure out some scale stuff to hide all that inside. But I'm digging it. It fits up with the windshield very tightly, and we could have fine-tuned it a little bit more, curved the driver's side a little bit, got it pushed back further, but then we'd have the problem with that side hitting the new hinges as well. So it's always a trade-off when you're doing custom stuff. But this thing's coming together good. Again, I don't know what I want to do yet with the engine bay. From eyeballing it, I don't think the RC four-wheel drive one's worth cutting up. We already got to cut too much out of here, and I'm pretty certain my tire is too high. We've got it setting so low. Even if we go up on the suspension a little bit, which is easy to do, use the RC four-wheel drive 50 or 60 millimeter shocks, and we can swap in a little bit stiffer spring or go double springs or stuff like that to get it where it needs to be. So I'm not too worried about that, but I don't think the wheel wells will work. And if you were like me in high school, you didn't have wheel wells in your truck anyway because you had it so dang low. I had that on a 99 F-150, a 7.9 drop that we pieced together, and inner fender, you could move the liner, but the upper structure was part of the actual fender structure, and I would just cut grooves in my tires. Of course, I was running a very tall tire too, so that didn't help, but the dumb stuff we did as kids. But yep, I think we're just gonna come up with our own engine setup and go from there. Maybe, I don't know, there's so much that doesn't work with this from the RC four-wheel drive. If we keep the fan shroud, but the radiator's in about the same place as that one is, so yeah, it just seems kind of a waste of a part. I got like $50 worth of stuff in there with all the scale things. We could steal the heater box and mount the heater box up here and just add, get the brake booster and do that kind of stuff on it. That might be a good way to go. And then we'll still, I've got some more SSD engines, so once we get ready to do the electronics and stuff, we will paint us up an engine. I haven't thought about what colors or anything yet. And we will address the upper links that I've made out of pink aftermarket parts off of a TA03. Vintage stuff on there, probably should put those back on that car. That was a very expensive chassis. So we'll make up something that looks a little more incognito. But those GRC dashes, you can find them on AliExpress, and they were out of stock at RC Mart. It's going to be overseas. I found on AliExpress they come in black, red, and tan, and the dash is two-tone even still. This one was the brown and tan, and we ended up painting over it anyway. But the black one was a lot cheaper. I don't know if they're in short supply right now or what, but the prices had gone up. These used to only be about $33 for this setup with the full interior and the seats and everything, and now it is the red and black and the tan and black or brown are all $77 on Ali, and the all black one was 50 something. So that's the one I ordered just to save money. We're probably going to match it anyway. One thing, the seat does stick up a little higher than I had anticipated. Not 100% in love with that, but what can we do? I did not put that other ring that came with that print file. If you're looking for this bench seat too, that was on Maker's World. And there's a link to that in the previous video description. There's a much better file. It's nice and low to the floor, and it helps you get some leg room in there. I'm not sure if our Canadian friend here has long enough legs to reach the pedals, but we'll get to that point later. If we even want to add a driver, I mean, I don't typically do that unless it's a crawler for some reason. But anyways, enough talk. Appreciate you guys watching. Get out there and have some fun with the hobby. You can do anything you want. You can use Traxxas interior in your RC four-wheel drive body. Just got to take the time and mess with it, make it happen. So appreciate you guys. Keep it scale, and I'll see you next time.